Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Don Odell's Legends. My name is Art Tipaldi, and tonight we have one of the most recognizable ladies in American music. We have Miss Christine Ohlman, a.k.a. the Beehive Queen. And we might as well start right there, Christine. How and when did the Beehive become part of your persona?
Big fan of the girl groups of the 1960s,
Sure.
in particular the Ronettes.
Sure, yeah.
Love the style, love the whole thing of it, which is so wonderful since Ronnie Spector has now become a good friend.
Oh,
you know,
nice.
So in the last 3 or 4 years. So started doing it, wondered what people would think. They went nuts.
Yeah.
You know, at one point the B-52s actually asked me to join.
Oh, really?
I got declined because I didn't want to be in a back line anywhere, but it was just so, it seemed to immediately be the right thing, and I was so comfortable in it.
Yeah.
I still am always amazed when I'm in an airport and a little girl and her mother approach me, and the little girl's mouth just, they love it.
Right.
They love it. She'll be twisting around as she's walking by, twisting around, still looking at me. I'll be waving.
Yeah, very cute,
But anyway,
very cool.
it was,
so has it been, what, 20 years?
it's about 20 years I've been ratting my hair up.
Yeah.
I made a lot of money with this hair.
Obviously, it's been a help to your career. Has it been a hindrance in any way?
I don't think so.
No.
Because, you know, I don't dress like in a retro way.
Yeah, right.
So I dress in whatever I want, basically.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting. Now in the age of Google, I am the #1 hit for Beehive Quen, which I would not have thought. But
That's right.
then someone pointed it out to me, and I've since learned that it is true. So if people can't, you know, my name is Ohlman. People spell it wrong. They reverse the letter. But if they go for Beehive Quen, they're going to.
It's always going to. Very nice. That's very cool. Well, as I said in my introduction, I'm the editor of Blues Revue magazine, and one of the perks of being the editor of the magazine is, as the CDs come into the office and I listen to them, I sort of get to pick the ones I want to write about. And when your newest CD, The Deep End, came through, and I played it through once, I just said, there's no way I'm putting it on a list. It's such a wonderful CD.
You were so good to us at Living. We really appreciate
thank you.
The Blues Revue support all the way through. You were so good to us.
Thank you. And I think we also, one of our writers in New York, Kay Corditz, covered your show and wrote that up in a magazine too.
Kay is great.
Yeah. And what were those? Now I know that that CD came out a number of years after your last one, but as I looked at the information on it, a lot of the studio work was done in 2008. What were those times like in the studio? Because I know it was a very personal CD for you.
It was a very personal CD. I had suffered the loss, the death, not only of my long-term life partner, but one of the charter members of the band had also died, Eric Fletcher, and he had participated in the original demoing.
Okay.
So when we started, my friend Andy York, who is John Mellencamp's longtime guitar player, Andy immediately came on board as the co-producer. He's worked on every one of my records.
Right.
And the sessions were incredibly deep.
Yeah.
Every friend that I called said yes.
Wow.
And we pulled in Ian Hunter, we pulled in Marshall Crenshaw, Levon Helm, who so graciously lent his studio for 2 of the songs and played on the record. Yeah. Big Al Anderson, G.E. Smith. The list just really goes on, and my dear friend Catherine Russell. Everybody that I asked just came to the fore. I mean, they all knew about the losses, but more than that, it's, you know, it's a lifetime in music. You know, you have a lifetime in music, Art, and it's the reputation. If you've been lucky enough to have a good life in music, it comes back to you in so many ways. Yeah, and as we get ready to record the new record, you know, I already have a list of people from Paul Thorne to John Magny of the Subdudes to Charlie Musselwhite.
Charlie Musselwhite, very good. Yeah.
Who have also agreed to come on board for the brand new record that we'll be doing this year.
Oh, isn't that great, Christine? Well, a couple of my favorite songs, I'll just throw them out there and you can comment on them, but certainly the New Orleans one, The Cradle Did Rock. That came about, I believe, as I read on your website, from your trip to New Orleans in 2006.
Been to New Orleans many times, but the first post-Katrina Mardi Gras, I was invited by our mutual friend Skip Henderson. Yeah. And his little band of crazies, the Bywater Boys Bones Crew, to mask on Mardi Gras morning as dead people and run through the streets. It's an old tradition. Run through the streets with pots and pans. It's called Waking the Dead. Waking the Pre-Dead. I'm sorry, Waking the Pre-Dead. So I saw firsthand what had gone on. I wrote about it for several magazines and wrote the song The Cradle Did Rock. The cradle being one of the cradles of American popular music,
Sure.
Certainly, if not the cradle.
The cradle, absolutely.
New Orleans.
Yeah.
So it was devastating but very moving at the same time, because that was the Mardi Gras where displaced people came back but couldn't stay, and then had to go back again to Indianapolis or wherever they'd relocated, because they just had no house anymore.
Right.
And as you know, in some cases, the Ninth Ward, for instance, has never come back in 7 years.
No,
so,
that's right.
You
know. Are you a follower of HBO, Treme?
I certainly am. Treme, wonderful job.
Okay, I was going to ask you, from your vantage point, being in the city, in the city at that time, is their depiction of it accurate enough?
So incredibly real. It was spine-chilling. They picked up the first season right after Katrina.
Yeah.
And then ran through to the next year's Carnival, which just precedes Mardi Gras. And it's spine-chillingly close how they captured it.
That's cool. Girl growing up, I got 2 daughters. My wife, you know, has sisters. I have sisters. So I really felt a connection to that song and your wonderful imagery in it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I had a niece. I would spend Christmas in North Carolina with my sister. I had a niece who had asked for a doll. She was 12, and my sister knew that this would be the last doll she would ever have. And then her sister went to the thrift store and bought her a pair of what we call kitten heels. They're little high heels, leopard, because she thought I would get a kick out of that. So here was Casey with a doll and the high heels. And I'd couldn't finish the last verse, and then, you know, Mark in Time to High Heel Shoes, Baby Dolls and Woman's Blues. That came out. Yeah,
just beautiful. I have a granddaughter now. She's 3, and you know, she's into the doll thing.
Thank you.
But she's got the makeup going on at the same time, and it's just
I was very proud of that song. It's very moving.
Very cool
for me.
Song. Yeah. And then of course there's The Gone of You, which is just one of my favorite songs of the decade.
Thank you so much.
As an English teacher, how did you, in my life, how did you come to that form that uses a preposition followed by a pronoun, instead of just saying, I miss this, just the
taste of you. Yeah. The feel of you. Not sure. Cliff Goodwin co-wrote that with me. Cliff had given me a riff, and I was working with it, and I had a whole different song.
Yeah.
I thought it was almost done. And then all of a sudden, one day, that phrase came to me, the gone of you. Not you're gone, but the gone of you.
Yeah.
And from then on, it was easy, because everything I thought had to be of you, of you, of you, of you. And Dave Marsh has called it, you know, one of the great songs of the generation, which I just can't believe. But Dave is also very taken with it. And in fact, we're gonna perform it on the show this evening.
Just beautiful. And like I said, you know, sometimes I would teach my students in writing. Every now and then, repetition works.
Yeah.
And that's where it works. It's just so perfect.
I was pleased with it myself. But, you know, I'm sure other songwriters have told you this. You don't always know where it comes from. I'm not one of these big spiritual, I'm channeling something. But truly, some days you sit down and you go, wow, this was a good day of writing. You know, hard to tell. You know, sometimes.
Now, when you write a song so personal like that, you know, when Shamika does Ghetto Child to Johnny, or Eric Clapton does Tears in Heaven, what does it take to do that performance every night? The audience wants to hear it.
Yeah.
But what does it take in a performer to perform such a personal song every night?
One of the things the band did was sit with me while I would cry while I was singing it in rehearsal, until I just sort of toughened myself against crying. That's really what happened. I would cry every time I did it. And and we'd stop and we'd start again, and I'd say, you know, you willing to stay? They were like, sure. You know, we certainly want to play it. You know, so. The other song that does that to me, reminds me, is The Edge of the World, it's called, which is off The Hard Way, which is off my first record. And Edge of the World was also, for some reason, another very hard one for me to get through.
And like I've always said, and I used to say this to my students when we talked about music, you know, we get to leave, we get to sing along with it, and then we get to leave, but you have to go back into a dressing room and remember that special person who that song was written about.
I also really do try to connect, you know, as much with the audience as I can. So to think about that there are probably other people in the audience, and sort of sing it for them. That helps me. That helps me.
How important is your band? Oh, before we get there, The Deep End too. That song.
Oh yeah.
I mean, what a great statement of finding strength and reconnecting with life too. And another powerful song on that album.
I mean, I have said this before. My great friend Roseanne Cash had said to me, well, did you write a lot of sad songs?
Yeah.
And I realized that I really had not. And
no,
I say it's a record about love and the courage to fall into it.
Yeah.
You know.
Now on your website you have a big quote about, you know, it's about love, the newness of it, the glory of it, the loss of it, the consistency of it. Yeah. It's my favorite topic. I've never felt so deeply or been so deeply affected. Yeah. So what's Christine Ohlman going to write about for the next CD?
The tentative title of the record is The Grown-Up Thing.
Really?
And again, it's about love.
Yeah.
In this one is going to be kind of love in the face of adversity. And love as a survival.
Nice.
And love as a survivor.
Nice.
As that seems to be the way it's kind of shaping up. There's a song called Alabama and Lonesome. There's a song called The Wish. There's a song called, of course, The Grown-Up Thing.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of different, a great sort of hip shaken thing called Soul Shaken that I think is really going to be great. Yeah, right. So we're looking forward to it. I'm going to record, I think, maybe a little bit of it in Muscle Shoals with some of the guys I know down there.
Good.
Yeah.
Is this a CD that will be all originals, or as you did on this CD, did you go back and find some classic songs that relate to this theme?
I think I never cannot, because as you know, I'm a big old fat record collector. I have a big old fat record collection that's like crazy big and everybody knows about.
Right.
And on the deep end, of course, there's that wonderful duet with Dion.
That's right.
And the duet with Marshall Crenshaw, and they both are cover tunes.
Yeah.
So I expect there will be,
yeah.
I expect there will be.
With this project, with all of your projects, how important is your band, Rebel Montez, to what you do?
The band is crucial. Cliff Goodwin on guitar, Michael Colbath on bass, Larry Donahue on drums. They're so crucial. We've been together a long time, and, you know, it's wonderful to have a set group of musicians, you know, that respond to the songs and respond to the individualness of each night and each performance.
Yeah. How long has this band been together?
Cliff joined right after Eric Fletcher died, which is 7 years ago. But Cliff and I had also been in the Mohegan Sun All-Stars and are in the Mohegan Sun All-Stars. So I knew him from there. And Larry and Michael a good deal longer. It's a more than 15 years.
Your band, So they sort of like a basketball team. They know where you're going to be.
Oh, they are, and they're bobbing and weaving. Yeah, it's great.